Hi everyone, this is Deborah, and today I've got a bit of a mixed bag for you. First of all, I wanted to show you some of these quilts that I finished last week, or kind of finished. I must say I had the quilt tops done already. Now these I made in a day. These are super easy quilt tops, and I will link below to the pattern and the three patterns, two patterns that I'm going to show you. They are from Moonkin Stitchery, and she does fantastic quilt in a day quilt tops. So all of this has been done in a day, but what I did in the last week is I got out all these quilt tops and I finished them. Well, I almost finished them. So this one here, I've put the backing on, but I haven't put the binding on because I didn't have anything to bind it with. I'm waiting for that to come. It should be here next week, and then I will bind this one. These are all what I call lap quilts. I think they're a really good size. They just seem to work for me and for our household, and for people I give them to, just to have a bit of a lap quilt to sit on the couch. No, I haven't pressed it. That's why it's all wrinkly. Sorry, I haven't got around to that yet. But I just wanted to show you some full-length views of these ones that I'm going to be showing you. So here's this one. Now the fabric is, I can't pronounce it. It's French General, and it's Bonheur something or other. But again, I will put that in the description below for you. So if you're wanting this fabric is not that old, I don't think. It's a few years old, but it's not multiple years old. I must say my husband doesn't like it. He thinks it's all too dark, but I rather like the dark sort of vintagey look that it has. What do you think? Anyway, you can tell me in the comments when I've shown you the rest of them what your favourite is. This one, again, not pressed. The quilt police will be on to me, I'm sure. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I haven't pressed it, but I will do so. So this one here is Cottage Linen Closet, and I think that's Brenda Riddle, but I will put the link below. It's a fairly new range, and I've done a jelly roll race, which means that end to end you put all your strips together, and then you start, after you've put all 42 together, you get both of the ends of the long strip you now have, and you lay that side by side and join them together. When you get to the end, you chop through the last bit, and then you bring the two raw edges again and lay them side by side and sew them through, and so on and so forth until you get a quilt. So super easy. Again, something that I did in a day, just sat there chain piecing and whipped it up really quickly. Now this backing fabric I have used on another quilt that I had. I almost had enough, but I wasn't going to be deterred. So what I've done is I've put a piece on each end. You can see this end. If I can find the other end, I'd show you. Here, this end here, both of them have like this 3-inch piece on. So after I laid it out, it was just overlapping on the sides, but it was too short on the top and bottom. So I cut those side bits off, and then I put them on the top and bottom. And I don't think that it really detracts. I mean, this is for me. It's not going in a quilt show. It's, I'm not giving it away to anyone, although I probably would give it away to somebody. There's nothing wrong with it. I love this fabric, and it was really good because I bought it on special. It was on a super cheap price a few years ago. I bought a whole heap of fabric, and now I'm using them. I had always planned to use them for my backings, and with the increase of price of fabric, certainly in Australia, it's been a godsend. So 2 quilts I got out of this one, and then I was lucky enough that in my stash I found, and I didn't realise that I had found it, that I had it, this fabric for the binding, and that is one of the ranges in here. Here it is here. So that is that fabric there, and I just happened to find it when I was looking for something to do the binding with, and I just had enough of that too, so that was really lucky. Anyway, this one I think is really pretty, and again, my husband doesn't like this one. He thinks that it's too soft and vintagey, but I love soft and vintage. So that's that one, and I still have to clip my threads and things off it, so it's, only just finished it a couple of days ago. I'll get round to doing that, and I'll put it into service. This next one you've seen before. So this is the improv sort of quilt that I made up, and I put the rest of the quilt fabrics around the edges. I should put that up here, and I'll show you a full-length picture of this one as well. I love this fabric. And on the back, I actually used, I don't know if I told you this when I was doing it, I can't remember. I actually used an old sheet, or actually it was a new sheet. I bought it from the Goodwill, and it was marked as a king size sheet, and it said new in brackets, and it was cotton, and it was $8, and it did, because it was king size, it did all the quilt, and I've still got some left over that I'll be able to use for something. So that's that sort of, you know, made up quilt, and I really love it. I think it's really fresh, and I have more of this fabric left, so I might be using it again, I think. Because I put so much white into this one, I didn't actually use it all up. This is the next one, and this is the one that my husband likes. In fact, he commandeered it because it's nice and bright and not vintagey at all. And it is a really pretty fabric. I don't usually go for brights, but this caught my eye because of, it looks like it's had paint splattered on it. So it's got that real painterly effect, and I do love that look. So this one, I used the backing. I had some of this fabric that I bought heaps of, as I was saying, a few years ago, and so I was able to use that, and not only use it, but I did self-binding on this one. So I had enough after I put it on the quilt, and I had just enough to do the binding on the quilt. So I got that one done too, and I'll show you how that looks in the full size as well, and hopefully you'll think that that's pretty nice. I don't know. Let's see which one comes back as the favourite in all of these. I'm really interested to know what takes your fancy. All right, now we're going on to something completely different, and it's this. I didn't realise when I bought it that it was coming in this very cute little bag, and I'll show you. It's got a little pocket. I'll show you what's in the pocket at the end. It was a real surprise. I was really squealing with delight. I was so happy when I found that. But what this is a project, and I'm going to say I hope I never finish it. That's probably a silly thing to say about a project, but when I show you what it is, you'll see why I'm saying that. There you go. It is a huge map of Australia. Now, I bought this online, and I will put it in the link below. It has a turn at the top, so you could put it on a rod and hang it. That's the idea when you finish it. However, as I said, I don't really want to finish it, because what it is a map my lap. And the idea behind it is that you stitch, and yes, slow stitching. I'm going to try some, you know, simple slow stitching. And the idea is that when you've been somewhere in your caravan or in your motorhome, we've had both, we're onto the caravan now, that you stitch along the roads and of where you've been, and then you stitch the towns that you've been to, you stitch them in as well. And if you haven't actually been to them, well, this is what I'm thinking. If we haven't actually stopped and seen it, but just driven through, I will just leave that unstitched and just jump across to the next road and keep going. So this is where I live, here in Brisbane, on the east coast of Australia. And so I have travelled all of these roads, obviously, but I'm only going to stitch those where we've been in the caravan and or motorhome. So the last trip we did was to Lightning Ridge and Burke, and you may have seen the video I did when I was at the caravan park at Lightning Ridge. And the trip we're coming up to in a couple of weeks is Miles, which is just west of Queensland. Well, Brisbane, sorry, northwest of Brisbane. And we have been out here to Charleville in our motorhome, and we've been further than that actually. We've been up to Barcaldine. That's where my brother-in-law lives. So this is going to be fun. Now, when you get to Victoria, it's only tiny, and so there's not as many roads on here. And it doesn't, it has Ballarat and Bendigo, but it doesn't have some of the other little towns on it. But I'll just have to make the best of it, I guess, because the size of the map. It's 1 metre by 1 metre, makes it difficult. And the same with Tasmania. When I get to that, if we ever went over there, you can get the ferry out of Geelong across to Devonport. It used to go from Melbourne. They've now moved it to Geelong, and you can take your car and caravan with you. I've actually gone on that ship, the Spirit of Australia, and took a car at the time. That was a long time ago, but when I was a young lady. And it's an overnight trip, and it's very rough. Most people get seasick when they're on that boat, or a lot of people get seasick. And let me know, have you been on that, on the Spirit of Australia? So a fun fact for those who don't live in Australia, this Victoria is our smallest mainland state, apart from Tassie, of course, and Tasmania, sorry. In Australia we tend to shorten everything. I don't know why, it's just how we are. You know, brekkie and, you know, all of that sort of stuff we shorten. I think it's a quirk of Australia. We're I don't know why we do that. If anyone knows why, let me know. And tell me what sort of quirky things happen in your world where you live with your language. Anyway, back to this. So Victoria is our smallest mainland state, and if you take the UK, it will fit inside Victoria if you put it there. I've done that for my cousin who lives in the UK, just to give her an idea of the scale, because she couldn't imagine how big we are. And then a fun fact for those who live in the US, if you took the US, the United States, and you put it on top of Australia, it would fit inside. And we have, I think, I don't know, 26 million people, something like that. And I think America's got about 330 million. And the reason is that we all live around the coastline, and we don't have enough water and places to live really to support a large population like America. Because as you can see here, we have a lot of desert through here, and it's very, very hot, and very few people live out here because of the factor of heat. This is Alice Springs, which is sort of the centre of Australia, and we also have Uluru, formerly known as Ayers Rock, is in this area. It's not actually on there that I can see. It should, oh, there it is. I didn't realise it was that far from Alice Springs, but there it is there. And this place here, there are no roads, so you can't actually go there unless you know, wanting to get in a four-wheel drive and all of that. So the dotty lines are indicating dirt roads, I think. However, you can traverse the Nullarbor Plain, which at some point we will do. If you remember my doily quilt, I have a tea towel in there that depicts that train line. So that is that. Now, the other thing is it's got the legend down here, and then what's in the little pocket. I thought this was so cute. Look at that. We've got a distance gauge. I guess that if people want miles, they can give them a miles one. But you can see that that's 300 kilometres, and you can just see how far everything is away from each other. So there you go. That is my next project. So let's get on and do some, shall we? So I have my tapestry thread, and I have some tapestry needles, and I'm just going to use the whole thread. I know you can pull it apart and just use 1 or 2 strands, but I actually don't want to do that. I actually want it to be quite thick so you can see it. Now, no surprise that the colour of my tapestry thread is in shades of green, because that's what I love, and this is all I have. And let's go and start. Just check that I can push that. Oh yeah, that's going through. I thought it was going to be a bit difficult to put this through. So I think I will start in Brisbane. So I guess I have to come up into Brisbane. Now, no laughing at my bad stitching, okay, because you know I'm not good at it. And I will do my best. I will do my very best, but it probably won't be pretty. I'm going to turn this around here. But the idea is that you just stitch all the rows, and that's why I said at the beginning that I never want to finish this, because I never want to stop traveling. So hopefully I will have a lot more rows stitched as time goes on. It's also something that I can take on the road with me. Actually, I wonder if I get an embroidery hoop and put that on, if that would help. I've got so many of them, I may as well try and use one. So I've got a tiny embroidery hoop, which I think might be better, and I got this from Lifeline, the Goodwill shop, for $1. I always buy them if I see them for $1 or $2. I pick them up. Sometimes some of the charity shops will be selling them for $5, and that might still be cheap, but I'm too cheap to pay that much when I know that I can get them for $1 or $2. One day I got about 15 all for $1. And the problem is I can't pass them up. If I see them there, I just have to have them. Now that's looking a bit dirty, so I'm going to give it a wipe over with a wet wipe first before I put it on my fabric. I've never actually used an embroidery hoop to do embroidery. I've used them to display things, but never for embroidery. In fact, I'll show you something that I've made using embroidery hoops. So this is something that I've made with the embroidery hoops. I have, I think, 5 or 6 of them on the wall, and I got this map fabric, and then what I did is I pinned these pins on. So when we go overseas, we collect pins from each of the countries that we've been to, and they were sitting in the cupboard, and I thought, why don't I use them and display them? So this is in my laundry. I know, weird place to put it, but my laundry is big. It's also the main entry door. We have a back and front door, but we tend to use our side laundry door even when people come. So this is kind of the first thing they see walking in. And I pinned all of the pins to it. So I just took the fabric, put it around, and then I glued it around on the bottom hoop. And I also added fabric to the back so that the pins would stay in place, because that was a bit thin. So I've just put little folded up bits of fabric on the back, and you don't really see that anyway. And I think it's a great way to show your travels, and I hope that I get some more when we travel some more. For Australia, we've just got the Australia flag, and then my husband, because he's a Queenslander, he had to have the Queensland flag, if you're wondering what that is. And then Vanuatu, New Zealand, and then obviously here is all through Europe, you know. And we've got 2 of the Spanish flags because I speak Spanish, so I wanted to get the Catalan flag. I'm pretty sure that's the Catalan flag, but whatever it was, I want to get it. And then we've got, you know, all of the others. So the Vatican, Italy, Greece, Turkey, Switzerland, that is obviously Wales, which isn't a country, but my family come from Wales. So the Welsh flag, Scottish flag, British flag, and the Great British flag. And we haven't been to Ireland yet, so I don't have any Irish flags. And then we've got not Amsterdam, but, you know, Netherlands, Belgium, France, Denmark. This one here is Germany. Just trying to think. Sweden, obviously, that's got it written on, so that makes it easier. The Czech Republic, and that one there, oh, that's Austria. Yeah, but I don't know that Austria have that little thing in the middle. I think it's just the red and white. However, they've put it on there. So that's an idea if you're looking for something like that to report on your travels for future people or even current people. You can put them in a doily, an embroidery hoop like that. Initially, I was going to put doilies in them, and then I found that map fabric and thought that would be very good, a good way of doing it. So now I have to put this on here. I think it goes like this, doesn't it? And then you push it over the top. And hopefully, oh, maybe I'll loosen it a bit. Ah, yes, loosened it. That's much better. And then you tighten it up. And then I find my thread again. I could do this in reds and blues and things like that, I guess, but, you know, I'm a green girl. And I've got the thread, so I'd rather use what I have rather than having to go out and buy more thread. Also a great project to do when I'm out caravanning. Well, I think I said that already, didn't I? Yeah. Sorry if I'm repeating myself. I'm trying to get this threaded and it won't work. Try again. Honestly, goodness me. Ah, there you go, got it. So, where was I? I was under here, wasn't I? And I was going to come up right beside that one because I want to do, oh, now what's happened? Oh, really? I've gone through the doily itself. Goodness me. We'll try that again, shall we? Oh dear. I might not leave that bit in. You'll see how silly I am that I didn't even check that. I've pulled it all out completely now, even the bit that I'd done. Okay, let's go take two, shall we? We're not going to be deterred on this. Let's chop that off. I'll tie a knot in the end so that if it tries to pull through again, it won't. I should have done that the first time, shouldn't I? I know there's a way to get a knot right at the end. I've seen Rachel do it in Roxy's Creations, but you know, that's not going to happen. Not for me. So in here, and that's the same hole I used last time, so that's good. And then in right next to the other one. Is that close enough? I think so. And then next to that. So I think I'm trying to do what's called a satin stitch, but I don't think that I'm close enough in there. Let's try getting some further out this time.